When I was a boy, heaven was here, and America was here. You could be anything, you could do anything. I am the wrong person to have discovered this.
If you don't speak for them, who will?
Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. It's December and there's not nearly enough football on television, so now it's at the movies too. Christy, Alonzo, Matt, Ben, we're here to talk about Concussion.
So Concussion is really the story, whereas perhaps it should be the story of the NFL's efforts to keep quiet the reality of the number of concussions that players receive and the potential dangers of that. It really becomes a story about Bennett Amalo, the Allegheny County coroner, or somebody who worked at the Allegheny coroner's office, who discovered CTE in the brain of former Pittsburgh Steelers center Mike Webster, and then set about attempting to publish his findings and alert the world of the dangers of professional football. It is excellent for a while, then less excellent, and here it is.
Repetitive head trauma chokes the brain.
The NFL does not want to talk to you. You turned on the lights and gave their biggest boogeyman a name.
You're going to war with a corporation that owns a day of the week.
No proof was presented today because there simply isn't any.
They have to listen to us. This is bigger than they are.
Who are you?
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Yeah, so I was really into this movie until I started. Well, first of all, I was really into 2/3 of it, less into 1/3 of it, and then less into the whole thing when I started to read more about it. You know, there's always a significant issue when you make a docudrama, and when you make a docudrama about a thing that is happening right now, that is still very much in our consciousness and something we don't understand, you're really framing what the debate is about. And they got so much of it wrong or misleading that I think it undermines the movie. And then from a narrative point of view, I lost interest in this when it became really pretty clear that it was about him and not about this. I don't care about him so much.
Sorry, the AP did a story about how he like exaggerated his role, right?
Yeah,
is what you're referring to?
Well, no, it's some of what I'm referring to, but that I don't care about because we can't show everybody who studied this, and they made him the star, and the other people whose a lot of really important work got left out. That's their beef. That's not my beef. It's a legitimate beef. I get that. That's less important. What's important is that it sort of framed the debate like CTE causes this brain damage, which then causes you as an NFL player to go crazy and then kill yourself or spiral out of control, that you're death by cop or death you drive off the road. And there really isn't that evidence. What there is strong evidence that the NFL knew of the dangers of concussion, and that the one study that we know of 1,000 people, that the NFL players have like a 5% chance of experiencing forms of dementia, way higher than the normal rate. For everything else, suicide, healthy living, they're under age and population. NFL players do better. They're healthier. But this may cause the playing football, concussions, maybe CTE, may cause you to have some form of dementia. That's serious. The NFL covered that up. That's a good story. That's an interesting story. But we are in the infancy of understanding what CTE is, and this movie makes it seem like got it, done.
They make that leap.
Clicked. They make a leap.
You kill yourself.
That is really not there yet, and I don't think that's ultimately in the end helpful to the debate.
I did not research any of this, which doesn't help. But my problem with this movie is that dramatically, it's just not all that satisfying. I mean, we just saw Spotlight. And so, the docudrama whistleblower movie has been kicked up a notch. And so when you see something like Truth or this, where it just feels almost like this kind of little guy against the system Mad Lib, where they just kind of plug in the specifics of, oh, it's about the NFL, it's about concussions. But it could be any movie about any guy, any David and any Goliath, and so this didn't feel specific enough to this guy's story. It just felt like this sort of blandly uplifting,
Yeah.
fight the power movie.
And that part to me is not as interesting. It does drag in the second half or so, but when in the beginning, when it's sort of a procedural and he's putting the pieces together and looking at specimens, like that's kind of interesting. And because it is so recent, and because we are talking about actual football players, they have the benefit of being able to intersperse actual footage from not that long ago from actual NFL games of these people. So that gives it an immediacy and a tangibility and all that. And and Will Smith cannot help but be charismatic. He's dialing it down here. It's a very low key
I forgot that it was him. I was worried that I would think, hey, it's Will Smith doing an accent, but I didn't.
Yeah, and Gugu Mbatha Raw, who is gorgeous and magnetic
Always
and charismatic as hell.
Underutilized.
In the beginning, she's underutilized. Stuff happens with her that gives her some depth and some some more to do. But when it becomes like I'm fighting the system against woefully miscast Luke Wilson as Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a bad cast.
Horrible choice.
Yeah, it's like, who let that kid behind the desk?
Right. Of all the people in all the world who look vaguely like Roger Goodell or sound like him, Luke Wilson is not one of them.
But Arliss Howard was good as sort of scary flunky.
And Albert Brooks is great as the coroner. He's always great. Yeah.
But that's a bad scene too. I mean, that's again a mislead. Look, I have JFK is this brilliant movie, but I still wonder. Wait a minute, did the European papers have Oswald's name before? Like there's stuff about it that I'm like that wasn't true that I'm unsure whether it's true. So you take a important historical event and you fiddle with it a little bit. I have trouble with. But here, like again, because this is so recent, I think there's danger in misleading people about what this is about. And Brooks, like Amalu said at one point in the movie, and it's a super dramatic moment, like here's this, look, the NFL is coming to get him, and so the NFL working, the government in cahoots with the great line from Albert Brooks, with the people who, you don't realize you're taking on, they have their own day of the week. It used to belong to the church, now it's theirs, I'm paraphrasing it. So the idea that the FBI clearly, on the urging of the NFL, has come in and they're trying to shut down his research, that raid, I just read Slate has a great piece, and I'm stealing a lot of my points from Slate here, but that raid happened 3 months before he'd published anything. They weren't coming to get him, and the charges really had nothing to do with that. And then he did testify against his boss when he says, "I'll never testify against you." Like that makes it this sort of a typical big corporate villain versus the little man trying to get out the truth thing, and it's not the way, and that makes it silly. There is a real story here. The NFL really did cover it up. They really did. But this, again, to me, misdirects.
I like this movie more than you guys. Look, there are better whistleblower movies. I think The Insider is better at this. I think the Julia Roberts movie, Erin Brockovich, does a better job than this. But I think this movie's got a couple of good things going for it. I think it's one of Will Smith's best performances. He does downplay it. He'll also have you believe that he can't dance, which I think that's a miracle of acting right there.
That's true.
Too. The other thing is, I think that this movie, for as much as it fudges what it's doing, I think it does a good job of doing what it sets out to do, which is make people afraid of football. And for better or for worse, like that's its agenda, and that works. Like it's hard, I don't know about you guys, it's hard to watch a football game without thinking of some of that imagery.
Totally, it's hard for me,
of the brain matter shredding itself.
Right, and I know a lot of moms who are like, I will never let my son play football. And I'm one of them. I won't let Nick play football ever.
Right,
I don't think he'd want to anyway. But
in the wake of the Sony hack, we hear about, oh yeah, NFL was involved in this. Really? Like, how much worse would it without the NFL being involved? Like, I can't imagine the NFL having any insight, any daylight into this.
I don't think it makes them look terrible. I really don't. I think, it just makes them look sort of monstrously corporate and not sort of terrible in the way they ought to look terrible. I would like to have seen.
Totally trying to do Silkwood here with the like, oh my God, who's driving behind me stuff,
Yeah, I know, but
that's all meant to be. Oh, the NFL's tentacles are everywhere.
And the Sony again, and Peter Landesman, the director, he got angry after the Sony act. He was like, wait till you see the movie. We hammer the NFL, and I think it was moderately hammered. I think this. I'd like to. What I'd like to have seen is the NFL try to sue or stop this movie. Then I'd known. That would have told me that you'd done a good job.
Yeah, Peter Landsman also did Parkland. Remember that? And that was okay, but it had some of the same problems.
Had some of the same
interesting pieces, but the pacing is kind of languid and uneven. And
if you're going to do a story about something that's really happening, just try to be as true as possible. The great thing about The Big Short is that nearly everyone has said that
that's how it went down.
Like it got sure they first of all they acknowledge when they're wonderfully acknowledging the things they did differently, but you got the essence totally right, and I'm not sure they got the essence right here.
And they took a topic that was daunting and they made it exciting and fun in The Big Short versus this where they take a topic that's daunting and make it less interesting.
I like this. After I saw it, I liked it more. If we'd done this review a week ago, I'd have given it a higher score.
All right. So what is your score then, Ben?
Like 6.2?
You said 6.1. I said 6.2.
Oh, I'll
What do
stay
you
at
say?
6.1 then.
I said a 6. I mean, yeah, Smith's good, and I always love seeing Gugu Mbatha Raw, but after a while, it just was sort of like, I was thinking, yeah, it's Aaron defensive Blockovich. Not in a good way, you know.
That's a Justin Chang pun. That's how good that is. What's your number then?
I'm probably too high. I give it an 8.
Okay, so average is 6.6. Oh, Alec Baldwin's good in this too. He plays a former Steelers team
He is.
doctor.
As Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, and David Morse.
Louisiana.
David Morse is really good.
I think
David
David
Morse,
Morse is
what did they do to David Morse's head?
Oh, I know.
It's like Frank. He's wearing a whole other head in this movie.
I don't, I think I love Alec Baldwin. Like, I think I just flat out love every Alec Baldwin performance.
He's very good in this too. So our average is 6.6 then.
What was it? 62%.
So again, Christmas fun with your family. You could watch the games that are on that day, or you can go see this instead. Bye.